welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for October 14th, 2025. I'm your host, Gary Smith, and on today's show, we'll talk with Coach about this past weekend's game at Edinboro, and then we'll look ahead at the standings and scores from this past weekend's action in the PSAC, and we'll preview this week's homecoming contest between the Clarion Golden Eagles and California Vulcans. And more importantly, Coach, it's October 14th, which means tomorrow I can hopefully get a haircut. It's been too long. I apologize to the fans. I have been trying to get rid of the gray.
It's tough during the season to work that stuff into the schedule. I got you.
I think we need to get a staff hair, like barber or like something like that. Yeah, something.
We actually have one of our players, Cedric Vessa, is the team barber. So if you ever need Cedric, I think the rates are reasonable.
Send him up. I'll just get a nice high and tight, and then we'll just be ready for the rest of the season. But Coach, enough of the nonsense about my hair. And again, I apologize. It's not a good look, but. This past Saturday had a tough road game against Edinboro, and as we talk every week, and it seems like we talked every year, we know the PSAC week in and week out is a grind, and unfortunately this past Saturday we walked right into a grind.
Yeah, it just didn't play well enough to win. You know, give Edinboro credit. I think they had a good game plan, and I think they executed it, and we didn't play good enough or coach good enough to pull the victory out on the road. Our guys know that it's a fine line in this league between wins and losses, and every play can affect that game. At the end of the day, they made more plays than we did, and you know, we come up short on the short side.
And despite the result, I mean, I really thought as a fan watching the game that the team fought hard. You got down 12-0, but then I really thought second quarter, Ratcliffe hits a field goal, makes it 12-3, and that kind of flipped the script. In that second quarter, I really thought the momentum was starting to come to the California sideline.
Absolutely. We started slow on both sides. You know, we won our first coin toss and deferred, and they put a drive together. Offensively, we come out and we fumble a snap on second down. I think we had a penalty on first down. We just didn't come out strongly. That was actually our only punt of the day. Was after the first series. We punted it, and it was our only punt of the day. So we didn't start the way we wanted to. But I thought we carried the action in the second quarter. We end up scoring, some points. We get an interception. The end of that first half was crazy as crazy could be with the different things and the calls and it was crazy. But at halftime, we're good. We felt right where we needed to be. I think the score was 15-12 maybe. We didn't offensively. The story of the day was we didn't execute in the red zone. We had opportunities. I think we had to kick 3 field goals and we missed 1 field goal. When you do that, you're not going to win a lot of games. You got to score touchdowns when you get down there, and that was kind of the story of the offense. I thought the offense moved the ball. I thought they played well. At times, I just didn't think we just didn't execute in the red zone and had to kick 3 field goals.
And going back to the end of the first half, you go back, miss a field goal, but then the defense has a chance to make a play because Edinboro had some momentum with the miss and timeouts, but once again, at the end of halves, Alexi Sangster comes a big pick, and then you guys went down, didn't get in the end zone, kick a field goal. But what I wanted to ask was, and this is more specifically, there was 2 instances of the game where there were long replay reviews. Yeah. What does that do to the sideline? I mean, whether or not you think which way the replay is going to go, but that one replay delay was about 8-9 minutes.
Yeah, it's just part of the game now.
Okay.
It's just I don't think it has a bearing on it. You go over there, relax. It gives you, essentially an extra timeout where you can talk to your team and so I don't think it had a bearing. But we did have 2 reviews. One went our way, one didn't. One at the end of the first half, and it kind of worked out to where, we got a favorable spot. I think. We didn't think it was the end of the half. We didn't think we got the first down. So we called the timeout right away to figure out that they did give us the first down, which would have stopped the clock. I wouldn't have called a timeout in that situation. So as I was talking to the officials, we decided I had already called the timeout. I was losing it one way or the other. So why not review the play and see if we can get the call that we thought it was. But either way, we were losing the timeout, and that's why we did that.
Okay, and that ends the half, and then at halftime, some adjustments. You come out Phaeton quarterback in the second half. Had a couple really big seam routes. Devontae Williams, 4 receptions, 139 yards. It just seemed like, the team, whatever you said in the halftime worked because the team really, I think they carried that momentum from the halftime into the third quarter.
Yeah, I think we just started executing, and I thought we were moving the ball offensively. And like I said, we had 2 field goal opportunities in the first half. We scored a touchdown. We were moving the ball and we were executing. that's, I think, the frustrating thing for everybody in our program right now is you see flashes of it. You see times when we execute. We had a great meeting yesterday, and we had about a 20-25 play cut up of things that we did wrong as a program that Edinboro had no bearing on. And we talked to our guys about that fine line, that every play matters, and the play in the first quarter is just as important as the play in the fourth quarter, and we got to get back to playing every play having a life of its own, and doing your job every play. And if we do that, we'll have success. If we don't, then we're going to be hoping and wishing at the end of games to make a big play.
Well, at the end of the games, again, that fourth quarter was back and forth, but still, despite everything that went on, your team had a chance with the ball with about 1:13 left to go down. So no matter what's happened, you still got to like the fact that you still have your team still has a chance to get the W.
Yeah, I mean, we battled in the second half, and our defense didn't play up to our standard. I think our defensive coaches and our players will tell you that. We didn't have our best day, and a lot of it was critical mental errors or critical errors on our part. But give Edinboro credit, but we battled the whole game. I think we took the lead with 3 minutes left. That's a call that I look back and should I have went for it on 4th and 1 at the goal line? With 3 minutes left to go in the game, decided to kick the field goal to take the lead. Give our defense an opportunity to get a stop. Unfortunately, we didn't do it. But I will give Edinboro credit. They made some incredible catches on that last drive, incredible throws and incredible catches. We had guys in great coverage, and that's football. Sometimes the breaks don't go your way, but we battled and competed the whole day, and I know our guys will respond. We had a great meeting yesterday, a great practice yesterday. Take a lot of ownership as individuals, coaches included, and get this thing back on track by playing each play and playing as hard as we can.
And some numbers from the game individualized: Phaeton Hill 11 of 15, 171 yards, threw a pick last play the game, but also had a rushing touchdown. Roman Purcell 14 of 21, 127 yards and a touchdown. And Coach, both your quarterbacks found 9 different receivers, which again, I think we say that every week is just that's a testament to the guys you're putting out on the field.
Yeah, I just think we got some depth there. We're a little banged up there right now, and we got some young guys playing, and they're stepping up. At this point of the season, no one's a freshman. We were here for 3 or 4 weeks preseason camp. We're in week 7. It's nobody's a freshman anymore. Everyone's got to put their hand in the pile and contribute to us playing winning football.
Leading receivers Dante Williams, 4 catches, 139 yards, but also he'll probably want this in there, 1 for 1, 7 yards on that wide receiver option play, and then defensively Sangster with 8 tackles and a pick in his 4th on the year. So that puts a wrap on this past weekend's actions at Edinboro. Let's take a look at the highlights, and then when we come back, we'll look at this upcoming week's opponent, the Clarion Golden Eagles. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Harry Radcliffe on to attempt the field goal. Kick is up from Radcliffe, and the kick is good. 12-3 now the score. Lewis in motion across the formation. Purcell rolling, finds Lewis, and Lewis waltzes into the end zone for the Vulcan touchdown. Marcatelli back to throw, sling it over the middle, intercepted into the arm. Alexi Sangster Jr. again, working over the middle of the field, brought down into California territory. And who else? It's always him. All roads lead to Alexi Sangster Jr.
Direct snap, and he's going to muscle his way into the touchdown, or in for the touchdown. Number 32, Jake Lehue, the tight end. 3rd and goal here for the Fighting Scots. Dinkins trying to muscle his way into the end zone, and does for the Fighting Scots touchdown. Hill rolling. Hill under a bit of pressure. Hill's going to take it himself, and Hill dives for the end zone, and it's going to be ruled a touchdown. California takes it in. Phaeton Hill with the score. Marcatelli hands to Robinson. Tries the right side, able to find a gap. Robinson down the field. Robinson has the speed. Can he go all the way? He will. Touchdown, Fighting Scots. Radcliffe to go up by 2. The kick is up, and it is good. 29-27, California the score. 3:21 remaining. Marcatelli throws it for the end zone, and wide open, and it's caught for the touchdown. Jeremiah Neely. Hill fires. Pass was long and over the top of Tyler Long and right into the hands of the Edinboro defender.
Fall is back and so is Vulcan football. Follow the Vulcans every step of the way during the 2025 regular season. The season kicks off with a Thursday night clash versus Charleston. Then home September 13th versus Westchester. Home September 26th versus Lock Haven. September 27th at Slippery Rock. October 4th at home versus Seton Hill. October 11th at Edinboro. Homecoming October 18th versus Clarion. At IUP October 25th. Home versus Frostburg State on November 1st. At Gannon November 8th. And the season finale at Shippensburg November 15th. Follow Cal Vulcans and CUTV for live links, highlights, and much more.
Penn West California Theater and University Players proudly present Law & Order Fairy Tale Unit. In the fairy tale criminal justice system, the characters from fairy tales and nursery rhymes are represented by two separate yet equally ridiculous groups: the fairy tale police who investigate fairy tale crime, and the fairy tale district attorneys who prosecute the fairy tale offenders. These are their stories. Come to the Blaney Theater this October 16th through the 18th at 7 p.m. to see how the scales of fairy tale justice tip.
Students, after the big game and the festivities at the homecoming and community dessert reception, come enjoy theater improv, sports challenges photo booth, face painting, puppetry, giant foam Jenga, and much more. Join us October 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Natali Student Center for games, treats, contests, music, and surprises. All ages invited, and bring your Halloween spirit. And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. During the break, you saw the highlights from Edinboro from this past week, and then you saw highlights from last year's contest against Clarion. Before we break down Clarion, we're going to take a look at what happened in the PSAC, another weekend of divisional play as we move into the middle part of the divisional schedule. See on the scoreboard, Borough, Cal 33-29, Shepherd 28, Westchester 24, Shippensburg 41, Millersville 28, East Stroudsburg 38, Bloomsburg 35, Clarion 48, Gannon 46, Slippery Rock 49, Seton Hill 7, and then Kutztown 34, Lock Haven 7. We'll take a look at the updated standings, and everything's getting jumbled up as, again, we're in the middle of divisional play, Coach, and we know each week is so important because you can almost, depending on what happens, you can almost jump 1 or 2 spots one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play each week in this league, and you got to show up ready to play. And I think the rest of the way is going to be interesting.
And the interesting thing about this week, it's homecoming once again this week, and we'll talk about homecoming stuff before we end the show. But the most important thing is the opponent, Clarion, coming into this game. They're 5-1 overall, 1-1 in the conference, coming off of a high-scoring, nail-biting win against Gannon. And I know you've been breaking down film, so we'll do it like we always do. First, let's talk about their offense.
Yeah, really explosive. I think they're probably leading the league in scoring, or second in the league, scoring 38 points a game. Passing game's got it going. They're over 400 yards a game in average. They're throwing for quite a bit. Good balance. I think they're throwing for 260, running for 130, something like that. Good balance. Got skill guys all over the field. They've played a couple quarterbacks. Both have played really well. They're doing a really nice job offensively of scoring points, but also doing it with balance. Probably one of the better offenses that we've played so far. Probably the best offense that we've played so far.
And we'll give their quarterbacks, and I'm not going to pronounce his name because I don't have to typically in my life as a director, so we'll let our announcers do that. But coming into this game, 72 of 109, 9 touchdowns for over 1,000 yards. And I know, as you mentioned, they played a couple due to some injuries. On the ground, their leading rusher, Simmons, 74 carries, 380 yards with 9 touchdowns. And you alluded to their passing attack. They got 2 guys over 400 yards, 448, 421, and both with 5 touchdowns. So again, that really speaks to
spreading
a
the ball around.
attack.
They've got nice skilled kids. The quarterbacks are doing a good job of getting the ball to their playmakers. They do a really good job of finding touches for their explosive guys. The tailback's a big, strong, physical runner. They're just a really good offense. We're going to have to play defense, great team defense. We're going to have to stay in our gaps. We're going to have to cover, and most importantly, we're going to have to tackle better. So I think it's a huge challenge for us. Clarion's playing really good football. Obviously, being 5-1, they're doing some really good things.
And over to the other side of the ball, what do they do defensively? I know we've talked, seems like every team in this league does something different. What's their wrinkle?
They're very multiple. They start out of a 4-down package. They'll bring some pressure. They're not a big blitz team, but they will bring pressure. I think it starts for them up front. I think their defensive line is really good. I think their 2 inside linebackers are really good players. They got 2 good, solid cover corners. They're probably playing a little bit more man coverage this year than they have in the past, and I think that speaks to they like their people. When you see a team that typically doesn't play man coverage and then they're playing more man coverage, that means they feel like they can cover well. So just solid defense. The thing that they do is they're going to support the run in different ways. They're going to support the run with their nickel. They're going to play what we call 2 inside, or bring corner cat to support the weak run game. They're going to give you different looks to try and stop the run. They're very multiple coverage-wise. They'll jump into a 3-down package and play 3 high safeties and play Tampa 2. They'll roll from it. So, it's a week offensively that we've got to play assignment football, because they do some different things as far as they're probably more multiple than some teams with coverages and fronts. So we've got to play assignment football. And, the message to our guys yesterday was we got to do our job, and we got to do it the best of our ability. And if we do that, then we'll have a chance. If we don't, then like I said earlier, we're going to be hoping and wishing at the end of the game to make a play. So I know our guys will respond. Great workout yesterday, great team meeting yesterday. Anxious to get to practice today at 4:00 and get this thing rolling.
And obviously, there's 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. And we're fortunate here that we really solid special teams. What does their special teams look like on the other side?
Yeah, really good. I think their kicker's really good. I think their punter's really good. Kicker has a strong leg. A lot of touchbacks on the year. One of our things we didn't talk about this weekend, I thought we played really well special teams. We blocked a field goal. We had some really good kickoff returns. We stopped a fake punt. So I thought our special teams played well on Saturday. We're going to need to do that again, because Clarion is very solid in special teams. They've always seemed to be a team that is willing to fake a punt, willing to fake a field goal. We worked on that yesterday. We'll continue to work on that. Edinburgh tried to fake punt on us, and we got it down. I think our guys understand what we're trying to do there. But it's going to be a huge part of Saturday.
And we'll talk a little bit more about everything Saturday, but let's take a look at the schedule in the PSAC this week. Again, another action-packed weekend of divisional play across the board. Highlight, of course, by Cal Clarion, 3 o'clock, the homecoming game. And then going from the top to the bottom in terms of time, Fairmont State and Edinburgh kicking off at noon. A pair of 1 o'clock kickoffs, IEP and Slippery Rock and Westchester Lockhaven. A couple 2 o'clock kickoffs, Gannon, Seton Hill, Shepherd, and Bloom. The other 3 o'clock kickoff is Millersville and Kutztown. And then the 6:05 nightcap, Shippensburg and East Stroudsburg. And of course, Coach, it's homecoming week. There's always 3 different phases to homecoming. First is how, as a coaching staff, do you a lot of excitement? How do you kind of temper that with your team?
Yeah, it's just we got to handle our business. We got to show up to work every day and do what we're supposed to do. Not a lot of talk about it, just show up when we meet. Let's win the meeting, and when we practice, let's win practice and give ourselves an opportunity to play clean football on Saturday.
And going back to your days as a student and a player, do you have any favorite homecoming mememories, either from the gridiron or some memories that maybe the time limit has run out on and you can talk about now?
No, it was always about your former teammates and the alumni coming back. Me as a former player here probably value our alumni more than hadn't I played here. But just homecoming brought a lot of friends back and a lot of former teammates back, and Saturday night was always a good time hanging out with the alumni after I played. But it's still special. I've got a great group of guys that, man, we still, to this day, after all these years, we go away once a year and play golf together. We get together on Sundays and so a special group of guys, and they're all coming back. I got a friend from New York coming. I got hopefully a friend from Florida coming. It's just it's a great time to bring all the alumni back and celebrate this institution.
And I can imagine that the alumni tailgate, the football tailgate that we always see, it's probably going to be pretty big this week. So if you want to hear those special stories that Coach can't tell on the air,
right.
Maybe swing by after, and then tell the people why they should come out. It's going to be a great game.
Great game, homecoming, great festivities. I know the tailgates are going to be huge and rolling, and this is a fun bunch to watch. We haven't gotten it done the last couple of weeks, and that's on us and that's on me. But I promise you that they're going to play hard and they're going to give you everything they have, and we're going to fight and we're going to get this thing back on track.
It's a big day at California this week. The homecoming parade on campus scheduled to start at noon, and then come on up. There's multiple different ways, secret ways you can get to Adamson Stadium and get in the tailgates before it gets too crowded up there, and the kickoff will be at 3 o'clock. If you're stuck in traffic or can't make it, or stuck at a house party, make sure to tune in to CTV Sports 1, the PSAC digital network or traditional cable.
Got to hit the parade first.
Got to hit the parade first. That's first.
And then come up the hill to Adamson.
And it's going to be a beautiful. I think, I haven't checked really the weather other than yesterday, but I think there is rain in the forecast, but it's after and into Sunday, so it's going to be a good day. And if anything else, we know how a game at Adamson Stadium goes. We've had about 24 of them in the last year, but hope to see all the alumni to come on out, wear your red and black, and support the Vulcans. Any last words, Coach? Any stories that you can tell, or even a hint? Give us like a 3-word story from college.
I don't know. My memory is so bad during the season. I focus on what we're doing next, and next we have meet with the offensive coaches, and then we have special teams meetings at 2 o'clock. That's all I got on my mind. It was about the guys that come back and celebrating, this institution and the alumni and the traditions. It was always a great time. So I'm sure this weekend will be no different.
Sounds good, Coach. But again, love to see a lot of alumni. And unlike Coach, I remember some things. So if I see certain people, you owe me some drinks. From the late 90s. So
there was one story you were telling me, wasn't there?
It's not brook trout fishing season yet, but
it's not. Okay.
It will get there.
I just wanted to see.
And Coach with the assist there. So thanks a lot for watching the Gary Dunn Show. We'll see you at Adamson Stadium, 3 o'clock for homecoming, and we'll see you right here next week for the Gary Dunn Show.